next one probably shouldn't be included on the list because it's no longer an extreme haunt, but it used to be, and it is also included one of the most haunted places in the United States. So I thought it was fair to mention it. It is a little bit interesting. I am talking about the Eastern State Penitentiary located in Philadelphia. I actually took a trip here a couple of years ago, nothing to do with Halloween. It's open to the public. They have like a tour. You can see the prison. You can see like Al Capone was actually housed here, a bunch of other famous prisoners. And it's very, very interesting. So Eastern State Penitentiary was the first penitentiary that kind of, up until then, prisons were kind of like focused on work. Like the prisoners, they were focused more like on punishment and work. Eastern State Penitentiary was the first prison that was focused on solitary confinement. The prisoners did not work together. They did not associate with each other. Even when they had outdoor time, it was structured so that the prisoners that were housed next to each other would never be outside at the same time. They never saw each other. When they were moved from cell to cell, they were forced to wear hoods. So everything was based on just being by yourself, solitary. And the point, people that believed in the system believed that you would have nothing else to focus your mind on except reflection on what you did, and that would help you to rehabilitate. And this prison operated from 1829 to 1971. And like I said, if you have ever been there, you can see kind of why it looks haunted. It looks haunted. Just the general atmosphere. It's very, very unsettling. And the stories go that besides there being like this forced solitary confinement, there was a lot of sadistic stuff that went on there. As to how the prisoners were treated, there was a lot of restraint involved. They invented something called the hole, which you've probably heard of. From my research, it was done first there, which was an underground cell that was real solitary confinement where you didn't have any contact with anyone for like 2 weeks. If they, I don't know what you did for them to put you in the hole, but it did exist in this prison. And they used to have something called Terror Behind the Walls at Halloween. And that's where I was going with this. I thought they still had it. And basically it was kind of like a haunt. It was an extreme haunt. Not like the one we just talked about, but it was an extreme haunt where you could go into the prison. It was dark and you would get like separated from your group. They would grab you. They would drag you like into the cells. Scary. It was nothing that I would ever consider doing, and I was going to talk about it, but they don't have it anymore. Apparently they turned it into something called Halloween Nights, which I think actually sounds really, really fun. If you're interested, you should definitely look it up. If you live near Philadelphia, I think this sounds so fun. They have something called Halloween Nights, and there seems to be like something for everyone. So if you're interested in like extreme haunts, they do have a couple of them there. I don't think they're as extreme as it used to be with the Terror Behind the Walls, but they do have some. And they also have like educational stuff. You can take like a educational tour. They do like ghost stories, which isn't a haunt. It's just like, you know, stories of the haunted prison. They have a bar. They have like a Halloween bar. They have dancing. I think it sounds really, really fun. So I thought it was worth mentioning, because it might be something like you'd be interested in. Like I said, I was going to put it on the extreme haunts because it used to be that, but it seems that they changed it. So I know this is a little bit off topic, but even outside of Halloween, if you are in the Philadelphia area and it sounds like it might be something that's interesting to you, just the tour alone, it's a very, very interesting place. I really enjoyed my visit there. Not everybody is into stuff like historical stuff like that, but like I said, I liked it. And I might actually try to get down there before Halloween. I think that just sounds so fun, and I could definitely use it. I could use it lately. So with that, so they don't have Terror Behind the Walls anymore. they made it into something, I think, a little bit more, I don't know. I think it's better. I think what they did is better. Like I said, it looks, I think we could all use some fun, right? And I think that seems fun. I don't know. To me, these Hans, a lot of them even say on the website, this is not fun. This is not meant to be fun. This is just meant to be a mental challenge. And for me, isn't life itself kind of a mental challenge? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. With that, let's go ahead. We'll test this shade. So this is our third shade that we are testing. Ooh, that's pretty too. But they're all very similar. Now, if you are someone with a makeup collection, I would say you probably have all of these shimmers. This palette is very, very pretty. Like I said, it is, oh, these shimmers though, I have to say, like, they're beautiful. They really are. I don't know how well they're coming across on camera, but they are some gorgeous shimmers. So maybe you do have these colors, but you might not have this formula. I mean, just look at, these are beautiful shimmers. If you like shimmers, this palette might be worth picking up because, like I said, you probably have the colors, but you probably don't have the formula. It's beautiful. And next up, we are going to talk about, wait, I have it written down. I don't remember. I remember my last one, but I don't remember my fourth one. Oh, the Castle of Chaos. Here we come. The Castle of Chaos is a haunt in Utah, but once again, this kind of falls into the category of the first one we talked about. It's a haunt, but there's other things that you can do, and it's not, I believe, tailored like to you. So basically, the Castle of, like I said, it's in Utah, and you can go there, and they have different levels. So like, it's basically like a haunted park. So it's not like Miasma or anything. It's more like the Ringling Brothers, the Freakling Brothers one. So here's the levels that you can do. Level 1, monsters be gone. Your glow wand will keep the monsters at a distance. I would do that. This is one that I could do. I could probably do level 1. I think I could get out. If you carry the glow wand, that means that you are a level 1 on the levels and nothing, can come near you. Maybe I could do that. Then you have level 2, general admission, where the monsters neither touch you nor stay away from you. This makes me think. My mother used to always tell me, when it came to haunts like this, that what she would be scared of, think of this one, what she would be scared of is not the haunt itself, but the people that were dressed up. Like, what if they, like, they came out of character? Like, they were, like, really, like, out to hurt you, and they took this job so that they could get somebody. There's food for thought. Thanks, Mom. Anyway, level 3, hands-on horror. They can touch you, but they cannot move you. And level 4, X-Scream, hands-on horror. Possibly restrained, moved, and threatens. And that's 16 plus. And then you have level 5, ultimate hands-on horror, 18 up for our daring customers. So there is something here for everybody, but I have to tell you, this one, Crucible, that's the extreme haunt. So if you go there and you decide you want to do an extreme haunt, that's the one that you do. So that's the one that they're talking about. And from what I read online, I don't know if it's still like this, but from what I read online, it's overnight. This haunt is overnight. I don't know if it's still like that. It didn't say that on the website. I read that somewhere else. And it's underground and it's overnight. And there are other, like, people there. So, like, when you're not, like, in the middle of it, there's a room you can go into with other people that are doing the haunt. They show, like, horror movies all night. But you're not done with it. Like, you can get pulled back into the haunt at any time. So even though this seems very extreme, it doesn't seem as extreme as the other ones. But this one, only because there's other people there, and, like, they're playing horror movies. They have a room where you can, I guess, take a break, and I don't know. After I read that miasma thing, nothing really seems weird to me. This one, though, the waiver is online. The waiver to this one is online, so I was able to find it. If you just like put a date that you're coming, I'm obviously not going, but you can sign the waiver. So let's check the waiver out. Okay, so like I said, the waiver is online for anybody to read, and it's basically, let me see if I can like pick out the parts. It starts by, I am waiving, releasing, blah blah blah, all claims that I have. You know, they're basically, look, if you get hurt, you know, or whatever, you know, you cannot sue. That's basically what it is. Now I have something, I'm not, let me see if I can pick out anything that's weird. You may be touched, grabbed, picked up, moved, placed into things such as freezers, carried, blindfolded, have bags or other items placed over your heads, placed in tight spaces, dropped, crawl, pushed, etc. So this waiver seems kind of like general. It doesn't seem to be too much like really crazy about it. I often wonder if waivers like this really stand up in a court of law. I don't know all that much about the law. I'm a science person, but I do remember taking a couple of law courses, and I remember learning about something called the schmuck law. And it's basically like kind of what it sounds like it's something you sign because they're hoping that if something happens to you, that you say to yourself, well, I signed this, there's nothing I can do about it. But whether or not it holds up in a court of law is something else. That's what they call it, the schmuck law, because they're hoping that you're quote unquote a schmuck and won't do anything about it. Because you signed this waiver. But if you really got hurt in one of these houses, I wonder if a waiver would really hold up in a court of law. I'm just curious. I don't know. I really don't know. Or is it a schmuck law? That's an interesting one. And with that, let's go ahead and test our last shade. This one right here. I don't know. Like, ooh, now that one stands out. Yeah, look at that. Look at that swatch. So the last one I'm going to talk about, I've heard of before. You've probably heard of it too, but like that one, let me tell you something. I just randomly picked these. They were by no means the only ones out there. Oh, that is pretty. This palette is really beautiful. They were by no means the only ones out there. The list goes on and on and on. You could find one no matter where you live in the United States or other places too, I'm sure. You can find an extreme haunted house. They are that popular. I just happened to come across, like, these were like a few that I saw that like were like on some lists that I saw, or like the most extreme, so I just picked them out. But they are by no means the only ones. This is a popular thing. This is like a thing. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. The next one I'm going to talk about, you've probably heard of, especially if you're a New Yorker like myself, then you've heard of this one. So yes, the last one on my list, in case you didn't guess it, is Blackout. Is Blackout the first? I'm not sure if Blackout is like the original one, but I know that Blackout is like known for being an extreme experience, and I think is more like miasma, where it's not really monsters, there's no masks, there's nothing like that. It really is like a psychological test. But at one point it wasn't like an invite only thing. I remember because I like growing up, Blackout was always like a thing around Halloween, and you always had like a couple of friends that were like, I'm gonna do it this year. They never did. Actually, none of my friends ever did it, but it always like came up, like, this year, let's go to the city, let's do Blackout. So at one point, it was not like an invitation only. You could just show up and you waited online and, you know, you just did it. And it was known for, of course, being completely dark. You had to do it by yourself. they have like different rooms that are separated by like bags. Like the bags separate the rooms, so you can just like kind of go from one room to the other. You got touched, you got dragged. There was a very, very like sexual overtone of it. A lot of like nudity, kind of like, I guess it very similar to miasma, where you be told to like take your clothes off and all kinds of really out there stuff. It was known for that. It was always known for that. Now, I don't know recently what's going on with it, if they're still doing it. I wasn't able to find anything online about it as far as what they're doing this year, or if it's still going on. A lot of these things ended with COVID and haven't been brought back, so that might be why. But I know when I was growing up, Blackout was a huge deal here in New York. It always was. And it started, what's kind of interesting about this one, it started as an art experiment type. I read this, I don't know, it started as like an art experiment and kind of evolved into what it was. But what I really wanted to say about Blackout, they made a documentary. They made a documentary. It was a few years ago. I think I saw it last year, maybe the year before. And the documentary focuses on people who became addicted to Blackout. It wasn't just like something that they did at Halloween and then it was like an experience and maybe they were in there for a couple of minutes or maybe they finished it, whatever, and it was over. They were addicted to it. They kept going back. They did it multiple times, and when they weren't there, they would constantly think about it. And Blackout apparently is another one of those experiences where they do ask you about your fears, and they ask, they want to get inside your head. They want to kind of tailor it to you. So what happened in this documentary, like I said, they follow like a couple of people who are addicted to Blackout. They keep doing it. Some of them did it like 5 or 6 times, and they formed these groups so that they could talk to each other about it, because you really couldn't talk to like other people. They were saying how other people didn't understand. They were like, oh, why are you interested in something like that? But they formed these groups that were like survivor groups that they could talk to each other about their Blackout experience. But what ends up happening at the end of the documentary is the people that run this was kind of, I thought this was a little interesting. The people that run Blackout decide to tell them they're not welcome at Blackout anymore. And I think this was maybe for a couple of reasons. Maybe the people that did it kind of realized that they're using Blackout as something else, and they have to kind of, I don't know, how do I put it into words? Like, they were using Blackout as kind of a crutch, like to prove to themselves that they could do something or to get over something that was going on in their lives. And I think the makers of Blackout kind of realized that these particular people were crossing the line and really needed to be able to, go on in their lives without this kind of, they had already proved it to themselves. It was done. Like, there was nothing more they could do. And at the end, one of the guys, they actually do it at his house. The guys from Blackout say, we're going to do this at your house. So they actually come to his home and do like the show, whatever you want to call it, at his home. And then they like make you say things. So they're like, say it, say this, say that. And at the end, the guy says, so everything that he says, the guy is saying. But at the end, the guy says, you are over this, and you will not do Blackout anymore. And the guy doesn't want to say it. That's the thing that freaks him out, because that was his fear. That was his biggest fear, that he wasn't going to be allowed to do Blackout anymore. And because that was his biggest fear, that's what they put on him. And I think, a big part of that was for him so that he could get over it. It was kind of an interesting documentary. It is on Amazon. It used to be free, I think, but now it's I checked, it is 99 cents. So it's not like a great documentary. I wouldn't say it's like a must-see, but I thought it was interesting. It did not say, like, there's no updated information, like, at the end, like, what happened to these people. And you do see, another thing that's really interesting is that the two guys that invented Blackout, they do make an appearance at the end, and they give, like, a little talk, and, you know, I don't know what you expect to see, but it's, like, two regular guys that just invented this. They seem like anybody else. But yeah, the documentary is kind of interesting. And it's not they did it to a couple of people. A lot of the people that got addicted to Blackout, they cut them off. And they said enough, basically enough is enough. I think maybe in their head, in their minds, the people that ran Blackout knew that this was turning into something unhealthy for these people. That's what I really think. And they wanted to, you know, they had to move on from this. I can't imagine how you would get addicted to something like that. But if you watch this documentary, you'll see, like, they are addicted. And when they leave Blackout, they can't get over it. It, like, takes over their whole lives. You know, they're always thinking of it. So, in the end, I think the guys that ran Blackout did them a favor by cutting them off because it was just too much. But, yeah. So, as far as I know, Blackout is kind of turned into a thing, kind of like miasma, like you can apply to do it. But I don't know if they still have, like, the Halloween. Every year, anybody could go. I don't know if they still do that. I wasn't able to find it online, and I think it might have something to do with COVID. But they'll probably eventually bring it back because it was always very popular. I'm telling you. There's really no shortage of people that want to do this kind of thing. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I would love to know your thoughts on this type of thing. With that, I'm going to go ahead and try this blush. Now, last time I tried Goblin Guts. This is Pumpkin Spice. I really liked Goblin Guts. I thought that one was really nice. The pans on, this is another blush by Makeup Maniacs. The pans on these are super small. They really, really are. And if my memory serves me right, I don't think this one, like, had a lot of color to it. Let me see. Oh, it is kind of pretty. Oh, it's beautiful, actually. It doesn't have a lot of color, but it's super shimmery. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it is super shimmery. It's actually really pretty. It's gorgeous. I have to tell you, overall, I was very happy with the Makeup Maniacs experience. I would highly, highly recommend it. But this blush is super light. That's the only thing, but it's a very shimmery. If you like a shimmery blush, I would definitely go for one of these. Keep in mind, like I said, this one is light. The other one, Goblin Guts, had a little bit more pigment. Neither one of them had a ton of pigment, but the other one had a little bit more pigment. So I will go ahead and link them down below if you are interested. I thought these products were really, really nice. All right, guys. So we talked Makeup Maniacs. We talked the palette. We talked the blush, and we talked about extreme fonts. And like I said, I would really, really be interested in what you guys have to say about extreme haunts. What are your thoughts, and have you ever done one? Or would you do one? I definitely would not. But I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Oh my goodness, my allergies are just getting worse. I think I'm about to go lay down until my hair appointment. Do you guys go to hair salons where if you cancel, they charge you? I know I do. So I will be going. I will be going to my hair appointment, but I'm going to definitely, I think, lay down first because this is going to be a very, very tough day for allergy sufferers. I can tell you that much. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow for another one. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.